Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hope this is coming through okay. I gotta do an audio check real quick on the stream. Let's see how this is going. Bear with me here while I check the audio, make sure it's not all goofy. Alright, seems like it's okay. You guys can let me know in the chat if it's going to be an issue. If any of you are still around. Synchrotron just finished his stream and he probably relaxed everybody so much they just want to go relax for a while. So, I wouldn't blame you. It's very relaxing music. So, but yeah, since Ramsey's not going today, I thought I would have a little bit of fun since I'm already kind of programmed to get up somewhat early on this day. Sometimes don't even need an alarm. It's kind of weird. Hey, man with beard, what's up? So, as the title says, this is a ribbon stream. And also I'll get into a little bit of iOS stuff in a bit. Let me just double check my camera here. That's a little wacky. I'm doing a different mode this time. It's a little bit of streaming from the iPhone directly from my mixer, so I can get all the gadgets plugged in. Much better picture. One of the webcam kind of thingies I usually use, which is kind of crap. So looks pretty well framed. As you can see, Kurzweil ExpressionMate, ribbon for the ExpressionMate. And I just have a MiniNova just as a controlling synth, so you can go through some different sounds and you can hear the modes that the ribbon can go through. We basically brought up this whole thing. Hello, Don. About this whole idea is watching Gaz's stream the other day when he had George Hearn on from UDO Audio, maker of the Super 6, Super Gemini, all that kind of stuff. George is a super nice guy. I chatted with him at NAMM, got a private demo on the Super 6 when it came out. So NAMM 2020, I think it was. And so I thought it would be interesting to go into a little bit on ribbon controllers and then show a couple of demo things. Because he was releasing a new ribbon controller. Strikingly similar to this one. I don't have any pictures of his handy here, but you can easily go watch Gaz's stream or go look and search for UDO ribbon controller that's soon to be coming out. I assume it's still in a prototype. And but if you look at it, it has this kind of shiny plastic middle, has the same kind of tick marks on it, has the same kind of beveled edges here, the plastic caps. It's exactly the same ribbon they used on the Kurzweil 2600, 2500 keyboards and this ExpressionMate ribbon that is standalone. It's also the same ribbon they used for the Lisa's Andromeda. Go look at them, they have the same kind of thing, they just don't have all this stuff. It's just a plastic caps on the ends here. They have this curved structure on them. But the fun thing about ribbons is, oh, I got a bunch of people in here now. Hello to Larian and Keith. Hello. Hello. So just a quick rundown on ribbon controllers, just because I'm talking about them. I may as well give a little bit of history first for anyone who doesn't really use them or know them or whatever. Hey Paul, what's up? So again, I'm doing this because of the Gaz Williams stream where I had George on from UDO Synth, so UDO Audio, talking about his ribbon that's coming out. His ribbon is essentially, he said they made it from scratch and designed it, which is possible, but man, it really has a striking resemblance to this guy. Again, the markings, this mid rib in the middle here, it's basically an air gap. So you're basically making contact. I have this weird preset on the ExpressionMate module here right now, so you can just hear this. So it's actually doing like a little, it's in 3 segments potentially. That's what these brighter marks are for. So you can have 3 zones or 1 zone, and that's what this little indicator here is, the LEDs here. The left LED is for 3 zones, the right LED is for 1 zone. So our house has a built-in arpeggiator, has some other switch functions to turn things on and off. You can engage with a foot switch or just hitting the switch button here for each function. This came out in around 2000, and yeah, again, it's the same exact ribbon that was on the Kurzweil 2500, 2600, which, you know, is why Joe Rudis loved that line so much, because it gave all this expression that you'd have from older stuff, like example, a CS80, which has a very different ribbon on it, and it's actually a much smaller ribbon, but as you watch Kent and countless other people perform CS80, it adds a huge amount of expression to something that was already pretty cool already. So anyway, they have this ribbon coming out, and I wanted to show that it looks a lot like this one. And he did build in some cool functionality where it has a smart mode where you can track from the middle, lower octave, higher octave, basically pitch bending. And it also remembers several levels, so you could go down and down again and get like 2 octaves this way, and same the other way. And I think it might actually be proportional to where you hit it. I didn't watch the video 100% all over again. I should go back and watch it again. But some of these things are relative scaling, and some of these are absolute scaling. So I'm assuming he has some kind of absolute scaling thing. So you just always start from the middle, and then you can go back 2, or back I think it goes back 2 and up 3, something like that. Pretty clever stuff, and it's really just using the modulation, the pitch bend modulation settings of the synth, going to the expression pedal jack. But what's cool about this ExpressionMate box, like I said, it has an arpeggiator, it has all these kind of crazy modes. It can also be played like you can on a Hydrasynth, where you can actually play it like a ribbon theremin called a tanorin. So if you ever watch Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys, they actually play a tanorin in the video. So, the tanner is pretty primitive. It's more like the wire part of an on margino on a ribbon controller, and you basically just press down, and the contact made it react accordingly. It's like a variable resistor kind of effect. So real quick on some other stuff, because I'm getting into the weeds here, but so a lot of famous synths, like the CS80 had a ribbon, Hydrasynth 49 Deluxe obviously have a ribbon controller above it. 49 is nice because it actually has a ribbon, lines up with all the keys, so you can actually play the ribbon in a tanorin mode chromatically, so you can go up and down like that, or just play direct notes and know exactly which note you're going to hit before you hit it, because it lines up with all the actual keys. The Deluxe, because it's so much bigger and the ribbon is basically the same size, I think. It's just, you're just using it as a overall controller, no line up with the keys, so you play what you play. It's a little bit different experience. And so you have Hydrasynth, Roli Seaboard obviously with the smushy keyboard. The 2 areas, one above and one below, are both ribbons, and they can both be played individually, so you can do these cross patterns or both at the same time if you want to get weird with that. So that's pretty fun. Obviously the Polybrutes have ribbons on them. Not just the Morphe, but they have the ribbons on them. Famous keyboards from Yamaha and Roland had these little mini ribbons for modulation and expression, just usually off to the left side of the keyboard. And so like Yamaha CS1X, AN1X, and the Montage M8X has the ribbony thing. That one actually has a 3-segment ribbon. Very much like this can be put into 3 segments, so you can get a little bit more variety out of it. instead of just being a single ribbon area. Roland JP-8000, which I did a video on a while back, has a nice little ribbon as well for expression. The Sylphyo wind controller I use for one of the last hardware jams has a ribbon controller on it, on the thumb area. So while you're playing it, you can basically move the thumb up and down like this at the bottom of the ribbon, and for extra expression. It's kind of like a wind controller mixed with Roli. It has five degrees of control, just like you have on the keyboard. It's pretty interesting. Anyway, so that's the mini ribbon synths. So you have, of course, Korg Monotron, standalone little portable ribbon synths. There's a thing called the Soundstrip Arduino DIY MIDI ribbon controller. It's something you basically throw together because it's an Arduino kit, so it's DIY as it says. Of course, Elisa's Andromeda, I mentioned already, has this one very much similar to this, embedded in the keyboard. And I already mentioned Kurzweil 2500, 2600, and the ExpressionMate box with the accompanying ribbon. Ken has an EO-Wave ribbon 2, which is cool. It's MIDI and or CV. This is a MIDI configuration ribbon with the box. The box does work standalone, but kind of the whole point of having this box is the ribbon. But you can use this as a standalone, just arpeggiator and some other stuff inside of it that's kind of interesting. But for me, the ribbon is the key, this guy. There's also other stuff for modular and also MIDI. Dupfer makes a very sturdy ribbon. It's actually thicker than one that George is going to sell. This is the case. And there's the ribbon area. Dupfer logo, and ends in a USB-A connector on this end. And then you plug it into either this module called the R2M or the A198 Tritonium Eurorack module, which is what I have. That's why I have this. I don't have the R2M standalone, but the R2M is much like this box and this ribbon as a standalone package, mostly for MIDI, but you can do CV with it as well. So, and then there's other, there's another one I have to put in here, but I found it on Matrix Synth. It's actually a company that makes a standalone analog synth with a built-in ribbon. It doesn't have a key bed. It's designed to use with a ribbon. And it's very retro looking, but it's also recently made, so it's obviously modern equipment. And one other thing you can do, you can even make your own ribbon controller from scratch, which I did many years ago when I got my Teenage Engineering Op Lab standalone module, which allows you to do CV, gate, MIDI, sync, and a bunch of other stuff. It's kind of a weird black box that's kind of raw circuits in there with jacks all over and stuff, and has these contact points in there. So I basically did, somebody had written a cool idea online where you basically take a strip of paper, scribble a graphite pencil all over it really heavily so you get a nice gray, even surface, and that's, conductive. And so I basically put some double-sided sticky tape, top and bottom, the length of the piece of paper, and then I put sticky metal tape, actual metal, made of metal, across the top. And so you get an air gap, and as you push down on the metal, it touches the graphite at that point, and it acts like this little gap here. This guy is a little air gap you can feel when you push on this. And you move up and down, and that's your ribbon controller. And because it's on foam, it's not constantly contacting the graphite, and it will spring right back. So you can make a poor man's, ribbon controller that way, and alligator clipped the various segments of it to the op lab as a little circuit, and it worked pretty well actually. It was like a couple bucks worth of material. It's pretty funny, but anyway, that's ribbons and things with ribbons and ribbon history and all that kind of stuff in a nutshell. I don't want to go too deep into it; it gets boring, but so ExpressionMate is very fun. We had it for a long time, but haven't had a chance to use it much, so here's my excuse. And so, like I said, this is a preset I made. It has my name on it, my initials, so I must have tweaked this maybe 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. This one, if I turn, if you just, that's the patch without, just a simple little weird patch with some delay. But this is going to... I'm going to start going through some of these other presets here. What is this one? So some of these are triggerable here, and some of these you have to use as a modulation. Switch. Okay, skip that one. Has my initials on it, so apparently it did something at one point. Okay, this one you can play like a tannerin. Now once in this mode, you can't really... See, it's hard and sticked to the notes, so you can't really do. So you'd have to do. Use your pitch bender this way to do that. So you still get expression that way, but get the exploration of the ribbon instead of being lost in the keyboard. Not everyone can play black and white keys very well. So you can just sit here and experiment. And do it that way. So lots of different modes. Sorry, more people in the chat coming in. I don't want to be rude here. Everyone else who's come in, I think I got everybody, but I think a few people came and went. So yeah, it's just a fun little thing. And again, I'm not using the best presets or any kind of special stuff on the MiniNova. It's just here as a quick. It fit nicely on the table because all the stuff is around. And I want to just have a sound source so you can hear the effects of the ribbon controller and the ExpressionMate box. Let's see, what's this mode here? So this one has a 3, see it's going to go loud as over here now, so I'm not set for 3 zones. So this is doing nothing, or at least nothing for this synth, because this is a mono-timbral synth. It may be doing something on another MIDI channel here. This has 2 MIDI buses on it. So I could be controlling multiple things at once, and this could be actually triggering another MIDI channel that this is not picking up. But as it is, the far right of the 3 zones is doing the same thing. It's in the tannerin mode, and then it stops there, and the rest is doing some other thing. Because I can see blinking there. It's receiving signal, and it's probably sending MIDI out to a channel this doesn't see right now. So that's another option. You have these, like I said, it's equivalent of like splits on a keyboard. You have these 3 zones you can play with, and again, they're hard set by these bright triangles here. The biggest triangles make the 3 zones. And it's either 1 zone or 3 zones. But again, this is set up to only be this specific zone for this channel. And this could be 2 zones with the same information or 2 totally different zones. I just don't hear it because it gets monotimbral. So, what else we got here? So that's standalone. Some of the names of the presets are not clear what they do 100%. Another problem with this guy, I have to dive in further, because it's a full MIDI box as well as controlling the ribbon and stuff. So they basically have patch change information being sent every time I change a preset on here, which, it's good if you want it to go with certain patches, but if you don't, then every time I hit this, it's taking out some weird-ass patch. So let's go. Patch. few of these I went through earlier, they don't really. It's like a panning. So some dynamic panning there. Not screwed up. So this is adding modulation. Actually, this is actually controlling the effects. So if I go to a different effect, another preset with effects. So you hear the delay on that one, right? So if I do this, I'll turn the delay off. That's full delay. No delay. So you can use that as an effects controller as well to bring the effects in and out. There you go. Another fun use. What's this one? This is more timbre control. This might be a filter cutoff or something. Let's see. Yeah, it's doing filter cutoff. And you can jump around too. You don't always have to just go linear like that. It's tracking it so it knows where you are. Now it's changed patches again because of the control change, or the patch change stuff. What is this going on here? That was doing nothing. This is supposed to be volume. To a single ribbon mode. Put on that one. And again, there's all kinds of MIDI information flying around, but so turn that one off. So again, no tenor in there. Okay, so some of these are not useful. This one's firing off arpeggiator stuff. You see it blinking like crazy, but you're not getting anything. It's a long MIDI channel. So So, kind of wacky, kind of weird kind of stuff. Maybe not something you're into, but it's there nonetheless. This is doing harp, this is doing modulation. So, there. Picks a weird patch. Might be useful for certain things. I'll go back to preset 1, which is just your standard run and no boring ribbon. It has 64 presets in it. So here's your basic boring pitch bend. Pick a different patch. Obviously the preset's wrong, but full ribbon pitch bend. So that's your basic stuff. That's patch number 1. Go through, let's see if it messes up my presets. This is similar, I think. So some of these presets, depending which mode it's in, single versus triple for the 3 zones, and depending which MIDI channel it's on, and if it's doing multiple MIDI channels, this is only monotimbral. Like a lot of stuff these days, unfortunately. I love multi-timbral, but it's just not that common unless you have a workstation or like an Access virus or... pitch bending mode, but it has a funny name for this, so it's not really useful with the name. That's this bend range here. So this is a 3 zone, so the bottom zone is just for pitch bend. So this is probably sending again different MIDI channels. And it's not doing anything. What's going on here? Again, some of these are weird. It's a built-in ARP, I think. Not firing it off from there, and the ARP is not really. Very weird. Anything? Just automatic modulating. This is okay. This is oh. Depends on the preset. This is doing a weird ARP thing on the bottom section. I found this on another preset a while ago. If you go really slow. questions? Okay, somebody tried to ask a question. Audio's toast? Uh-oh. Really? Hold on. Let me listen to mine. So, hopefully that's better. Sorry, guys. The audio interface I'm using on the iPhone is I think it got a little loose in the jack, so apologize for that. Let me know if that's better. That's better, cool. So what you heard is extremely wacky compared to what I was doing, which was already wacky. That's great. Sorry about that. All right, let's do that again. So what I was doing with this one, you couldn't really hear the effects, I'm sure, but on one of the patches was doing its own ARP, and this was also doing an ARP, and I was doing weird stuff with the ribbon. So you got some pretty weird, a good wacky bit there. Let me do a quick audio check again with my other headphones and see. Yeah, sounds okay. It's not distorting it. I think. Yeah, no fun when you get audio problems. The way I'm monitoring the stream is more local, and it's just going down the pipe. I don't have a proper, with this config I'm doing right now, I don't have a proper setup to actually hear what's leaving the computer right now, sadly. So thanks for the heads up. Sorry I didn't catch it earlier. So this is this weird, it's doing an ARP on the box. So it's going through some notes, but it's also ARPing them in a weird way. And if I turn this ARP on, then you get something similar to what I did before. So an octave down. And this is changing the ARP interval, obviously. Turn that ARP off. Well, you get the idea. It's just kind of a weird setting because it's only in this section. Again, it's in the three-step mode, 3 zones. And I will have to do another thing in the future with a multi-timbral thing like the Virus TI or something like that to show what the hell is going on in these other sections when it's in 3 mode. Because I don't remember the last time I used this, if I was also using a multi-timbral synth. So, but it's designed to do all kinds of weird stuff. That one's doing nothing. There's more of that pro step stuff, like that preset. Okay, nothing on that one. So this one's adding vibrato, obviously. So nothing special, but again, some people like the tactile ribbon thing, and I guess it looks cool on stage if you're, messing around with the ribbon. So again, every time I change the preset here, it's sending a program change, and it's changing my damn preset. I got to find out where that's buried in here. Sometimes you can't turn that off on certain boxes, and you have to use a event processor for MIDI solutions, and literally block that MIDI information from coming through without having to use a computer. So since I'm trying to I have a computer over here for watching the stream and the chat, but this is all pretty much DAW-less, and it's going through an iPhone for the stream. So nothing on that one. So that's using a ARP on the box. So now you can do kind of two parts, because the ARP is controlling the keys I'm playing, and this has its own Tannerin mode on this side. But over here it's actually changing the tempo of the ARP. So you can get kind of fancy here if you... I can actually latch these keys. Again, you gotta know what you're hitting. This is gonna sound totally random. So that's one of the cool functions. In this course, of course, right now it's using a single MIDI channel for all this stuff set up into zones. So this monotimbral synth can receive all this stuff. But a lot of the stuff you're hearing when I'm hitting different zones, the other ones in the 3-zone mode are not having any effect. But this specific patch is clever because now this is responding to a couple different zones. So playing notes and changing the ARP speed. Now what does this middle one do? Gate length. Cool. So two involve the ARP. Gate length and speed. And you can still... Yeah, you get the idea. Whoa. Change patches again. There you go. A lot of these are ARP patches. There's gate down here. All the way open. Now steppy. And this is latch, so I can let it go. So in this one, they put the gate down here and the ARP speed up here. What's on here? Yeah, it's weird. So you have to basically, the screen doesn't tell you that much unless you memorize what the presets all do. So you'd have to have like a chart. So like on this one, this part of the ribbon's doing this one, the part of the ribbon doing that. So, your mileage may vary. What is this one, Dan? Ah, we got presets again down here. Stuff all over the place. Nothing on that one. No Tannerin mode, no modulation, no nothing. Nothing. So there are all kinds of, I've got through most of the presets that were somewhat interesting, or at least gave an effect on this box, because I had played with a bunch of them before I started this, obviously, so I'm not totally out of it and clueless. But, so just a quick intro to fun with an external ribbon. And again, This is clearly aimed, because it's made by Kurzweil, it was aimed at using on a Kurzweil system. Now the 25 and 2600 synths from Kurzweil already had a built-in ribbon. This would be aimed at anyone else in their line that was multi-timbral that didn't have a ribbon, obviously, or other stuff, because it's MIDI, you can make it work. But some of the names in here, like one of them specifically is to modify the KDFX mode of a Kurzweil synth, so that's obviously specific to Kurzweil. But yeah, with some tweaking, and because you can make your own presets, you can dial this in and be a pretty cool little box. And it adds an ARP to something that doesn't have an ARP, which is cool. And you know, some other modes here with the switches, or you can hook foot switches up to make that happen. So pretty fun little thing, but it's cool to have the Tannerin mode to play stuff as well. Now obviously this is too long, even though there's stuff in the way here. It's too long to mount on a small synth like this. It's hanging way off the edges, so that won't work. This is just attached, so it has rubber on the bottom, so it doesn't skip too much. This is attached via like an RJ45 or RJ11 type clip-on connector into the side of the box. And again, like I said, you had two... Hey, thanks, man. Very nice. I think it's the first super chat I've ever got. I didn't know I had super chats turned on. Thanks, man. So, this, like I said, 2 MIDI buses. So in, out, through, and then an in and out. And a few other things on here, not too much. But just a fun thing I've had sitting around for a long time. I've only used it a couple times. Like I said, I did find a few presets with my initials on it, so at one point I did use it. But because it was so long ago, I actually forgot. So these things happen. So that's the ribbon stuff. What I really wanted to do also now, unless anyone has any specific ribbon questions, sorry, I've been ignoring the chat again. Hey, Tracker Jack. Who else showed up? Thanks again, Mr. Asef Stripe. That's very kind of you. What else we got here? Any other questions? Got Nick in here. And I'm sure some people came and went because I was either ignoring the chat or doing too many weird noises. I don't blame you guys. I think I got everybody. Neil Wharton is there, yeah. Cool. Neil, we still need to do that astronomy thing. Remote telescope, I'm dying to try that. Just been busy. But soon. It's actually been pretty shitty weather here lately, so I haven't taken my scope out in a while. More of those to come soon, I hope, when I have some more time and the weather's a little bit better. So, any other questions before I break this down real quick and show you some iPad stuff? Oh, you have a Nova? Yeah, it's nice. So I have a MiniNova, and I have several Nova-based things from Novation. I'm kind of Novation fanboy, so I have a circuit mono station, which is actually not Nova. That's more the base station 2 in a box, but it's in that circuit line. And I have X Station was the first one I ever got, and it's amazing. I love the X Station. The control surface is one of the best. This one's fun, and since I'm already on this synth, why not? If you guys haven't played with a MiniNova, the mic functions on here are very clever. So you have the micro Korg that gave you a decent vocoder. And this one does the same thing with these vocoder step buttons. So it's either an ARP mode or vocoder mode for the step buttons there to turn them on and off the steps. But this one also has vocal tuning, so you can sing into it and do what my Voice Live 2 does, or some other voice processor box, and do processed singing or more synthesized voices with it. It was cool. And the JDXI also came out, which is a similar form factor with the pitch to MIDI, which is yet another thing which is super cool that this doesn't do. But so the vocal thing on here is pretty clever. Also, this mode here, this animate section, I've never seen this on anything else. It's a shame they didn't include it on other synths that they made, because So I'm in the step mode for the arpeggiator. But if I'm in the animate mode, not every preset has a lot. See, this one has 4. This one has none. This one has a whole bunch of them. So check this out. Pretty boring. It's like a CP70, right? Something like that. So these are all live effects. So instead of dialing some effects in here and getting all crazy lost in the matrix, you can just engage them little by little, real time. That's boring, not doing much. So that's adding a little modulation. Some of these are kind of boring, but that's killing the delay, some of the effects. But here's the powerful thing. I can invoke like 4 or 5 at once if I want. And then this one, it sounds like shit because it's the effects are not good on this one. Let me find one with good effects. Yeah. There you go. So check this out. And if you do this, where is it? Hold. You'll leave those on. And I just hit hold and then, actually no, you have to tap them off, that's right. So the animate buttons are amazing on certain presets because they allow really complex effects and filter tweaks and other modulations to go just boom, 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 or click and hold with the hold button. You can even hold like all 8 down and hit hold, and it just goes bonkers. So that's pretty cool for taking a simple preset in a totally different direction without having to tweak a bunch of stuff. So if I want all these effects on, hold, and add a little more. And turn that off. Now the delay's gone. I can add the delay into the hold. And turn it all off. Back to the boring sound. So one of the things I love about this guy, I should use it more. The Nova engine's great. The vocal stuff is cool. This is cool. Other than that, it's very much micro Korgy. You got your genre setting here. And your matrix setting, it's just a little, I think maybe a little easier to use this matrix than the micro Korg, but they're very similar. And of course, they got that big ass cutoff knob, so you can get wild with your cutoff with lots of control because it's so fat. You have a lot more resolution, so that's kind of fun. So if you haven't used a MiniNova, there's a Marauder Nova that came out, which had a Marauder preset bank or 2 banks, whatever, put into it. I have those is the download. You don't have to do it. Same as they do with the AFX mode. In the base station 2, you can just download all that. You don't need, unless you want the look of it. I like the original look of the MiniNova too. And I almost got a the one before this one. The oh man, what was it called? It was another Nova name, and it was the first to have the touch encoders, and it had transparent wheels that light up with intensity as you use them, like on the Moog stuff. Ultra Nova, there you go. Thanks, Wagyu. I knew you would know that. You probably have one, don't you? So I didn't want too many Nova things. I already have like 2 or 3 X stations that I love, and I have this. And so I didn't want to get an Ultra Nova as well, although it's also very nice. The touch encoders is a cool idea. So anyway, so that's... Any other ribbon questions or anything? So I'm going to quickly break this down as fast as possible and show you some cool iPad digital apps that I've been wanting to demo. Most of you guys probably know them, but they're so cool, and they're cheap or almost free, some of them. expanded. Nice. Yeah, Supernova or Supernova 2 would have been nice to get because of the control surface and, of course, the engine. But I love that X Station. It's just so much control on there. And they were one of the first ones to give you that overlay approach, where they gave you canned overlays for certain famous VSTs in the VST mode. But they also gave you some blank ones. You could make your own. And, you know, whatever you hook it up to. Instead of being a VST, controlling other synths with all your parameters set on there. But it also had a really nice audio circuit built in via USB and live audio processing for vocal and guitar through it, just like on the QY100. And what else did it do? A battery operated. I love the stick and the touchpad. That was a great combination. So I went crazy for that. And other stuff about it was pretty cool. It had a little tiny, this is a much bigger screen, but it's almost the same information. It's like 2 rows of information. Anyway, so no one has any questions about ribbon crap. Okay, so I'm going to break this down real quick. Move this ribbon out of the way. As you said in Spinal Tap, you've seen enough of this one. I'm going to turn this off. I need this cable to get everything set up here nicely. And this should be a decent angle for the iPad, I hope. These overhead lights can be a pain because the angle is just right to be a nasty glare. I'm trying to avoid that. So, where do we start? Oh. Just a quick thing, has nothing to do with audio, except for the fact that a famous audio guy worked on this program. If you ever had an old Macintosh, pre-Power Mac, and even into the Power Mac era, you're probably familiar with this app right here called Flow Phaser. It's based on an app / screensaver thingy for the Mac. Co-written by Todd Rundgren. Guess he was into graphics to a fair amount as well. But it's just these beautiful, fluid, animated patterns that would often be used as a screensaver. But you can go in here and set your seeds and your patterns and your color variations and then get all trippy with it. Just freak out with the color cycling. The other programs like this that do it with fractals, but this is just cool because it's nice, simple. You set your seed, number of seeds, and then just blend into each other, and just super smooth. So I met another guy who actually was part of this, kind of a non-famous partner of the guys who worked on this thing. He's also a super Adobe expert, taught me all kinds of crazy-ass stuff in Adobe. Like sub-pixel movement in Adobe. No one knows how to do that, but he had a custom filter for that. It was really clever. So that's Flow Phaser. Nothing to do with audio, but just for fun. And as far as I know, all the apps I'm going to show you are still in the App Store, but your mileage may vary with all this stuff. So we'll start with one of the most esoteric ones first, Synclavier Go. Just because not everybody has the Beast on UVI, not everybody has Arturia stuff with the Synclavier built in there. And also not everybody loves FM, but man, this thing is cool. And there's some famous presets in here that you'll know immediately. Now, I haven't used this for a while, so I'm forgetting some of them, but let me just go through a few real quick. And let's make sure this is working. I think I turned it way down. I did. Where is it here? I think it's this one. Let me do a quick audio check to make sure this isn't screwed up and blasting. Not bad. Let me know if that doesn't sound good to you, but on my quick check it sounded okay. So, very digital, right? unashamedly digital. But you've heard these a lot on things. There you go. This isn't the exact patch, but it's a variation on the Beat It patch. Kind of low. That's a very nice patch, very smooth. Perfect for sci-fi stuff there. That reminds me a little bit of the famous Laser Heart patch. Obviously, it's very different synth and stuff, but very nice. Or like something Jan Hammer would use. Now, very FM, but it sounds pretty cool to me. What do you guys think? Look at the chat for a bit. I've been ignoring you guys too much. Sorry about that. Hey, Sean, what's up? Is that a nice patch or is that a nice patch? Hey, Have Beast, what's up? Okay, so I go through a few more of these. Now this, as far as I remember, this doesn't have any built-in effects. So you're hearing raw synclavier, right? Which is okay to me, but obviously it's crying out for effects. Here's some of the matrix to program it. So they have a mini version of that giant silver alpha dial that everyone sees, and you can actually buy a standalone synclavier alpha dial and then a little box that sits on your desk to use with the Arturia stuff or one of these other programs like this. But yeah, I mean, this is crazy shit, right? I mean, this is editing partials and knowing exactly how the FM stuff works. So all these pages of stuff, and I haven't really delved into this as much as I would like to. But I mean, there's just so much to tweak. That's the timbre page. This is looks like it has some recording functionality. This is a tracks mode here. There's a quick tour. There's the history of that's the original synclavier. There's also synclavier 2. And if you remember, oh god, who's the guy often in the chats who has one of these? He's the airline pilot guy. I'm so bad at remembering his name right now. Sorry about that, but I'm sure Wagyu will be able to shout it out. He's the British airline pilot guy who has lots of cool gear and lives, and his studio's a hallway. Yeah, there you go. Simon Alexander, that's it. He has one of these. He's got the tower and the keyboard to go with it and everything, and the old Mac to run it because it runs on really old software. So it's kind of crazy. But yeah, this is a fun little thing. So again, if you have the Arturia one, that one's really good. Obviously, the Beast on UVI is also a sample library, so you're not tweaking it like this is, where it's actually controlling the synthesis of it. But it's just a lot of fun, and there's classic famous patches. This was in the Synclavier Selects Volume 1. Oh, sorry, Volume 2. Volume 1 also has a few famous patches in it. There you go. You hear that on DX7 a lot, but it was obviously here first. Fluty stuff. That's like a lately bass. I love stuff like that. That's really nice.
pretty damn decent piano. Listen to this. I was pretty surprised when I heard that patch. It's called Tack Piano. Whimsical stuff. Nice little release envelope. There you go. That's more like the Beat It one. It's called Galactic Symbol on here. Pretty cool. Chinese gong. Sounds like something Vangelis would use on China. That's terrible. It's called Synthy Chord. Beautiful. Again, this is quick and dirty. I'm not really playing anything, just fucking around. Nice evolving patches. Nice release. Some weird stuff like that. Funny brassy sounds. Cool sound effects. This is called Hell to Heaven. Ah, here's one for Synchrotrons called Drone. Let's see what it sounds like. Oh yeah. I've definitely heard this on soundtracks. Nice release envelope there. Sounds like something out of a John Carpenter soundtrack. Very much like the SX240, you're combining layers and getting cool modulation effects. Wow. Very sci-fi. Very, very sci-fi. That one's called Porto Bubbles. Oh, Sci-Fi Porto Bubbles. It's a one-note jam. It's like something from the John Chowney thing I went to. This is called Opposing Sequence. This is, so vocal one, this is a tenor Oz. Nice little vocally format-y kind of thing. Frosty horns. Very nice evolving bit. Very mellow. So this is all kinds of, I don't want to spend too long in here, but you get the idea. Synclavier Go. I think it was pretty cheap. Really cool, and it's on your iPad. Take it anywhere. Very, very portable. What else we got here? Yes, this is fairly recent. Waldorf Microwave 1 got released not too long ago. So if you don't have a microwave or a XT or XTK or the Waldorf M, I think it's microwave M. I think you have that, don't you, Wagyu? This thing's great because it's graphical as all hell. Tons of editing pages to get all lost in here and get crazy with so many different parameters. Very graphical, and of course it's touch, so you can actually you can see going through the slices of the waves. And you choose the different wave tables, and as you play it, you'll see the. That's too loud. So this is a variation on one of my favorite patches. In fact, this patch is all over the Tangerine Dream Melrose album because it just got a microwave, I think. So, there's tons of digital stuff on that because, of course, they're famous for using the PPG wave a lot, which is also German. And let me go back to the original sound because I just tweaked the wave a little bit. But if you know any of their songs or you use this keyboard, it's amazing. All that panning, and you can see the waves sequencing through there. And you can play it very simply, percussively, or hold it. It's called Leone's Wet Dream. It's a great patch. I love that one. So I've actually sampled this on my EMAX2 when I bought my EMAX2 in the early 90s at Guitar Center. I was friendly with the guy in the keyboard department, obviously. And he let me use the built-in one in the rack there and bring in my SideQuest drive and sample all kinds of shit in the stores in the EMAX2. So before I bought a Korg W, had a bunch of those sounds. Before I got a microwave of any kind, I got a bunch of those sounds, all on my EMAX2. So this is one of the first ones I sampled, actually. But there's some other really good ones on here, if I can remember the names of them. There's so many of them. Just a brass. Let's see, this one maybe? Again, timbral changes. Even goes to vibrato at the end. Really, really nice. This is cheap too. I can't remember how much it cost, but it's very cheap. And what's clever is this is a recent release, but they're not being weird about, oh, you have to have this new iOS version, because this iPad is baked. I can't upgrade it anymore. It's too old. And I also wanted all the apps I had on it to keep working. And sometimes when you upload the new OS, it makes old things break. But I could still download this a couple months ago, whatever it was. And it worked perfectly fine. So I didn't have to have the latest and greatest. This is like 4 revs back or something. 4 or 5 OS revs back. And I could still download this. So if you're into that stuff, grab it while you can. Again, everyone knows the Waldorf, so I'm not going to stay on that too long, but I just played a couple quick patches to give you an idea and show you the cool interface. The Arturia stuff on iPad is really cool because, again, it's graphical, it's tactile, it's really, really nice. So this is iProfit, and balls out there. This is called Pseudo Step DA. And you got the joystick. Can't do this with the real joystick on the Prophet VS. Some really great sounds, and again, I don't remember that many of them. You just kind of pick a few good ones. Here's one called PPG Bass. Nice elevator. And just evolving stuff. So much fun. And again, pages and pages of editing, and, you know, there's a vector map for the stick. Modulation matrix, look at that. And you just go beep, 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 just like you do on a matrix brute or something. It's super easy. And an effects page. So, really, really nice. Again, I'm not going to go over that too much. Everyone knows the sound of the Prophet VS, and more stuff like it. You may have never seen this before, but I don't even know if these are even available anymore. Even Bjork took one of these to Coachella. Invented in Spain, I think, at a university, called Reactable. So I tried the real one at SIGGRAPH before it became a thing. It was just a prototype. And what you're looking at is a table with, it's glowing blue because there's a light source below it. And it's projecting this video information on this screen, which is tactile. So it was like a giant round iPad, but it's really just a transparent glass with a bunch of stuff below it. And you could drag in modules to make stuff. So right now you're seeing a tempo there. I pick a module, just a basic synth sound. See if I can remember how to use this. It's been a while. I'm going to add a rhythm to it. And if you double tap something, you can Is there a record feature on here? I forgot to use this app. But every module has this little section. So you have the different presets. That's a TR-101 drum set, it says. Let's do a Kraftwerk drum set. And then there's some settings on there. There's what's this? Okay. I don't know why it's not firing off. And this will keep droning until you do something with it. So there's the volume. And there's some like modulation or something here, I think. I forgot to record on here. So this won't be the best demo, but you get an idea of the interface. Oh, there you go. There's record right there. Yeah, oh, the screen. Terrible sequence, but you get the idea. Whoa, it did a chord instead of playing the... That's odd. And you can add modifiers. Samples and other modifiers and stuff to it. Like, what is this? There's a modulator. Put it in the stream, and you can see move stuff around, they stay connected. If you go too far, they will break, or try to find another path. You have an XY pad for it. And again, you can record all that stuff. Get your ADSR. And how much influence it has. And you can do other stuff like, there's a sequencer, here we go. So it's feeding the, see, it's not shooting that way, it's feeding the keyboard. adjust the sequence. Got your note lengths and some other offsets and stuff. And I guess I have to add a sequencer to the drum, maybe? And we get the idea. And if you don't want something to go, you can just slice through it, and it temporarily mutes it. It's like cutting with a knife. So dynamic performance, you would have these like, they look like little like soda cans made out of plastic, cut off like short, and then they have these cymbals on top of them. And there's a camera below, and I think they also had a camera above, tracking what you have and what position they're in. So all this movement I'm doing with these little buttons here, you would actually could do that with the thing. So, or I might be getting confused with the Japanese one. There was a Japanese one that was more physical chunks of things, and this one might have been just a touch screen. I think this is a actual replica of the one that was a touch screen, so I got those confused. Sorry about that. But so you can, this can still be sequencing, but I can cut its path to the source, to the destination there. So you do this dynamic like you do with a hardboard jam, where you can basically have all the stuff fire and then just go mute, and then cut it, and then have something else play and something take over, and then move something so the sequence can now go over to this guy and start playing that, and then go back over to this guy and play that. Now it's playing two things at once. So it's a pretty wacky program. It's called Reactable, and something fun to try. I don't remember how to use it, obviously. I'm doing a pretty poor demo of it, but it's fun, though. It was really fun when it was in front of you and, just grabbing stuff and touching the screen, doing, it's just interesting bits of stuff. So that's one of the weird things I'm going to show you. What's another good one? Oh, yeah. If you guys haven't seen it, they have an Optigan app. So if you don't have the GeForce Optigan libraries for the M-Tron Plus, you can do it in here. So you have your some of your rhythm bits there. You have this reverb you can turn on. And tempo and balance control. And then you just play your little chord matrix here. Anyway, get the idea. There's also keyboard mode, so you can play an organ with it. I might hit in the right notes, but you get the idea. And there's a whole bunch of libraries and stuff in here to play with it. There's recording functions, obviously. There's your little tap tempo. So that's Optigan. So instead of the big old box, it looks like a Mellotron that has the flexi discs in it. You can carry it around your iPad. So it's pretty fun. What's another interesting one here to use? I had a whole bunch lined up, and I'm not going to have time to show you all of them. This one's really fun. I don't know if this is in the store anymore, but you can probably find one that's equivalent to it. If you don't have an omnichord of any kind, either old school omnichord or MIDI omnichord where I just use them for MIDI. I love the MIDI control of an omnichord with the strum plates and the chord buttons and stuff. This will do the same thing. You can use it as a MIDI controller for internal stuff, or MIDI out from the lightning jack to other gear with a nice little cord, or both. So right now I'm just going to show you, it's just going to have the internal sounds on it to get the idea. But so you can oops, screwed that up. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There you go. You can also tab it. Oh, iPad got stuck. I had too many apps open. And you have your whole layout here, which your root node is major, minor, blah, 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 blah. Again, you got play, record. Other functions in here. You've got a whole section here to set up, drum beats to go with it. And this is saving functions. There's built-in manual, all kinds of other stuff to look at. So pretty cool. It's called Cordion. And what is this one here? I forgot. Forgot what that button does. But again, full MIDI control. So if you don't like the sounds, you don't like to even try to map it to internal synth sounds on the iPad, just MIDI out jack right on the lightning port right down here, and just control all your synths just like you would a real omnichord. And if you already have an iPad, you don't have to buy an omnichord. This is a very cheap program. And again, I can't remember if it's in the store anymore, so I might be showing you something you can't get, but I'm sure somebody has copied this. Everything I've got on the iPad has at least a copy or two in the store at some point, because great things come around again and again and again. Some developer stops supporting it. Apple stops, something changes in the OS, or they just lose interest, or maybe the person dies or whatever, and then the product goes away. So it may come again if you don't find it anywhere, or you may find an equivalent app. I might even have another one just like this on there. I just don't remember. I literally have like 300 apps on this that are just music. Some are MIDI, some are samples, some are synths, some are drum machines, grooveboxy things, all kinds of stuff. So this iPad is literally full. And I have basically no pictures or video on it. It's all apps. So I'm an iPad freak, what can I say? But I love the tactile stuff. I love the multi-touch. All these cool engines on the go. You just put in your backpack and just go anywhere and make some stuff. Some of these are hard to demo because they require the input of the microphone. This is cool because it's an upgrade of the Sample Wiz from Jordan Rudess, Wisdom. He worked with, they pronounce it Bliss, but it looks like Bleass, B-L-E-A-S-S. And it's very colorful. It's very kind of quirky interface, but very powerful. Very tactile, right? Everything's at your fingertips. There's a few layers. There's a giant keyboard if you want it. There's a dual manual if you want it. There's a roll the dice thing if you want a wacky random preset. Roll the dice. Roll the dice. Again, it's random, so your mileage will vary. Find a couple cool ones and save them. And you may be able to set the settings in here, how random it is. Like, is it only changing the timbre, is it only changing the LFO, is it only changing whatever. But, a huge library. There's tons of MIDI support, audio options. There's more presets you can buy for it, obviously. But it's nice. Now, I prefer the original sample whiz, because if I can find it here, where did they put it? General. There's a arpeggiator section, modulator section, unison. I can't remember where it is on here. I was able to link for it. Again, I haven't used it for a while, so I forgot where it is. But in the sampling function on here, can't find the sampling function on here. You know, this might be the other app. I might have this confused with the other Bliss app. Sorry, or Bliss app. This is more of the synthy app. There's a sample-based one. Let's see if I have that one open as well. The reason I was going to show that is because the original one you can't get anymore had actually even more powerful sampling things from my point of view. It gave you classic sampling, which is, you know, speed of the playback controls pitch. So you get the munchkin up high and you get the slowed down guy at the bottom if you're doing voices. Then it had modern sampling, which is clever stretching algorithms. So you can use one pitch, one sample loaded from a Mellotron or something like that, and it would scale it pretty well across several octaves. And then it had a granular mode, which is cool. At the time, that was a new thing, but it's not new anymore. But that modern function was the coolest. I could take one sound from a Hammond Nova chord or some other things that you don't have access to very easily, load it in there and play it, and it was glorious. It would do proper time stretching on it, like a good old Akai sampler would do. Micro sampler from Korg is cool, but it doesn't do that. It's old school sampling where it's just like slow down here and high up here, munchkin-y voices, kind of annoying. So yeah, that's Bliss Monolith. I had the wrong one. I just looked at the name of it. There's Bliss sampler something. I probably did load it on here. It's loaded. It's not open in the background. I'd have to actually bring it up. If you watch the streams I did on Tenorion, I showed these Tenorion apps on there. The TNR-I and TNR-E for the more dancey kind of stuff, and it's really cool. Sample Tank is great. Everyone's seen Sample Tank, and this is nothing new on the thingamajig. But I was going to show you sampler. No, you have so many goddamn apps on here. Also, I did a stream on this. If you haven't ever had a chance to get Dom's Snuggle Sounds app, which is really cool. I actually helped him beta test a little bit when he was getting ready to release it. It's this like relaxation app for going to sleep and just mellowing out and stuff. And I did a stream about that a while back. I'm not gonna play it now, but I mentioned it in one of my titles on my streams. You want to check it out? It's an amazing app, and unfortunately, you can't get it anymore. So this iPad is precious. I'm not going to ever lose it or reformat or anything because it's gone. My rack, you guys have seen this before, I'm sure. This is the VCV rack for iPad, and this isn't the latest version. So if you want modular and you don't want to pay for modular prices, you don't want the clutter and the wires and everything like that, this is a great way to go, and it's also portable. So this is a cool demo that somebody made. It's not mine, but very, very nice, and it's huge, right? Tons and tons and tons. You can go down, down, down for days and days. The biggest module in the world on your iPad. Zoom in and out. There you go. That's a lot of U and a lot of HP right there. So just a quick plug for that because it is a really cool app. It's just not the latest version. I'll do a couple more and then I'll probably call it because I've already been doing this for 2 hours at least. Yeah, it's been a while. Let's see. There's Waldorf Attack. That's pretty cool, but the interface is really crazy, so I'm not going to subject you to that right now because it's kind of nutty. This one's fun just because of the name, King of FM. And it's really, really easy to use and really nice sounding. It's another one of those audio kit-based things. So sometimes they're free, sometimes they're cheap. And it just has some really great sounds, but also has some classic DX7 kind of crappy sounds on it. You have a nice display there. And unlike a DX7, you have actual filters you can play with and other things like that. There's some PCM stuff included on here as well, which the DX7 didn't have. There's an effects section and a sequencer. And again, plenty of MIDI control and all that kind of stuff. So, let's see. 80s Fantasy. So, very much like a D50. The Fantasia patch on the D50. This is called 80s Fantasy because of Fantasia. Pretty damn close, actually. Supernatural FM-tron. Some nice effects built in. It's not this funny little king guy here, King of FM. So it's not everyone's people constantly complain about FM. It's too cold, it's too digital, it's too nasty, too noisy, too whatever. This is beautiful stuff in here, as well as some of the stuff you hate. So, I mean, if you have your choice. There's a classic plucky sound everyone hates, right? I like it. It's a DX7 Koto. Run through it. It's got a little bit of effects on it. But like a really nice delay, and using arpeggiators with it. It sounds great. I mean, Jan Hammer used it on several seasons of Miami Vice, and he made it sound glorious. So, just a lot of it's the user, a lot of it's just maybe the mood you're in or something. Nice lute patch. Marimba. It's a nice brass patch. I always like those brass sounds. That's not so nice. Fake timpani. Bells, of course. The Taco Bell ads use this preset for Taco Bell. So again, a lot of the classic DX7 patches, like them or not, they're in here. But then it just goes off the rails here for other stuff. That's pretty nice. It's like a wave station type patch. Now this clearly has some PCM waves added to it. So it's not purely FM. It's more like a SY77, SY99 on here, but with the less controls like Manny. If you watch Manny's videos, Dr. Synth, they're amazing. Showing you all kinds of cool crap that the SY series can do, especially the 99. Super powerful. But this gives you that flavor, like maybe like a TG33 or whatever, which is just like some basic AWM samples mixed with FM. Those famous patches. Got some weird ones. This one's called Almost Analog, and it does sound great. Alright, so you get the idea. King of FM. It's cool. Don't think it was very expensive either. Sorry, I should have looked at the prices on some of these, but I wasn't sure how many of these I was actually going to show. Just show maybe a couple more. This one's interesting. I think I mentioned it on a pub, or maybe even shown it on a stream of my own. This is called Coda, and it has this interesting sequencing function. It's like cellular automata or game of life kind of stuff. Nearest neighbor kind of thingies. So to the main. Actually, no, sorry, I did another goof. I confused. That's called Zoa. This is a different one. This is similar to Zoa as far as the interface and the color scheme. Zoa is the one that's the Game of Life one. Let me find that one real quick. That one's cool, actually. Should have that one open somewhere. Where is Zoa? Zoa. I use it quite a bit, so I should have it open somewhere. There it is. Zoa. See, the color scheme is similar. I think it's the same developer. This has the little squares with note values next to them in each square. And you get this kind of Game of Life cellular automata thingy. And because it has 4 modes, you can disable. So only 1 layer's on right now. Oh, I think the program's interactive. Hold on a second. There you go. Bliss was taking the MIDI. So you can make some changes on the fly. Bring in another layer. So they're using the same notes with some variations in this section here. So they play well together. Turn some off so it's less busy. And then you can take some out, make some changes on the fly. And you can see there's some cadence switching going on here based on some of the settings you have. And again, this is fully MIDI as well. You don't have to use these built-in sounds. But it's just a lot of fun because it's generative in a way, but you can also control it to a certain extent, so it's somewhat predictable. What's way better than this, although this is fun, there's one called Fugue Machine. If you guys haven't seen Fugue Machine, holy smokes, is it fun. If you listen to Johann Sebastian Bach, you know what a fugue is. That's a repeating pattern with different cadences, sometimes things going backward, things going forward. And the stuff you can do with it is, well, it can sound very classical or it can sound very weird or just beautiful in its own way. Damn it, where the hell did I put it? I have too many programs open. Give me a second here. Ay. I have to do a search for it because I have too many things open. There we go. Fugue Machine. So, same as the other thing I just showed you with the 4 layers. This has 4 layers, color-coded here. And let's just see what it's loaded in here. I may have loaded, but kept one of the cool presets in here. Yep, so I screwed up. I'm gonna start simple. So this one's going forward at this tempo, at this octave, this velocity setting, blah 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 blah. Then you start bringing other parts. Again, playing the same notes but differently. That one's going backwards. Backwards twice as fast. And again, the timbre options in this app are limited, but that's not the point. The point is to get a nice pattern that you like to build and pull back, and then just use it over MIDI or internally with the other VST type apps or AU, basically AU V3 kind of plugins. So there's some pretty good ones on here. Let me see if I can find a good one off the top of my head here. This guy's made some cool apps. He also makes this arpeggio gnome program, which is really, really cool. But Fugue Machine is really, really nice. Let's go patterns. These are all his personal patterns. But there are some based on famous patterns by Bach. So here's Bach's little fugue variation. Start at the right time so you get the different than the way Bach's sheet music works, but similar, right? It's based on the original little fugue that he wrote. This guy's added some flourishes to it. But it's cool, not just for learning about how Bach did some of his magic, but give your stuff a different sequencing style, like you could with a modular system without a modular. And the sound in it is nice just for auditioning things and figuring that it has a little bit of reverb on it. It's plucky, so you can have a lot of fun with that. So I really like this program a lot, Fugue Machine. And there are all kinds of, like, some are going like really wacky, super fast, super repetitive. You get these polyrhythms. Nintendo music. It gives you some cool ideas for how to do sequences of your own that are unusual or not the norm, based on some kind of classical ideas. It's amazing what 4 notes with 3 different styles of playback will do. It's called Hidden Melody 2. Great app. Just to sit and just play with it and figure out weird sequences and stuff. It's very really powerful and inspiring and fun. Maybe just a couple more because I love this shit too much. I'm having fun here. Hope you guys are too. Sorry I'm missing the chat a lot. This is a good other couple ones. This one's weird. Photo 4. One of these visual things that has some interesting stuff, but it's also this weird. See the little particles dancing around like it's fireflies or stuff. You can actually you can affect them with your hands. Whoa! Did I just lose it? Whoa! What did I do? Oh, I see what I did. I often use this little zoom feature because it's handy to look at tiny details and stuff. So there's a little keyboard down here. I also did a January thing earlier this year in January with this app. It's pretty fun. So the fireflies dance to the stuff you're playing, and you can choose different voices, how many oscillators. So it's not a groundbreaking app as far as making music, but it's kind of a fun interface thing. Gives you something to look at while you're playing, and you can do quite a bit of little synthesis stuff on here. So little fireflies dancing to your to your playing on them. It's kind of funny. Another one, weird ones that have structural issues that might make people nutty. So let's see, where is that one? Patterning is pretty cool. This Model 610, this is an actual editor somebody made for the sequential 6-track and sequential max. Very basic editing function. Pretty simple interface, but full control over MIDI of those really old keyboards that no one really wrote any editors for. So if you want to use them standalone, so to speak, but still with an iPad to tweak them and make new patches, this is a cool little editor if you have a 6-track or a sequential max. It's called Model 610. I'm trying to find a couple of the weird apps that did some funny stuff. AOM is a standard. If you're going to do any serious stuff on iPad, you need AUM. It's basically a stripped-down DAW. So you start it with this. There's all these little controls around here and stuff. You start it with this button here to start adding layers. Don't want audio, MIDI, or import some other stuff. So I've got audio. Then I want to choose what am I going to use, and I can do audio input, input from another app, etc., etc., etc. Inter-app audio. That's the inter-app audio to go between the apps. Or I can add plugins. So, for example, I wanted to add. Let's do an AU of this weird thing called density. It's a granular synth. And there's the interface. Have to turn this hardware output to headphones. It should play. No, it's not playing. Or do I have to actually hit play there? No, let's not have to do that. One of the fun things about this, though, is you pick your app, and then you pick your, say, your effects. So if I want to use one of the Moog AU effects, I have all the Moogafogers down here. I had them somewhere. Did I hit the wrong button? There we go. There's this Moogafoger, a phaser. So you get all these panels you can hide and move around. So you get the app, you get the panels. So just like you would do with a DAW, you have all these floating panels you can move about or hide or whatever. And you just build track. And you can do master sequencing here with the top section. And you build it up. And it allows you to do a pretty streamlined little DAW setup. And also have interaction with the outside world with the audio input and other inter-app stuff. AUM, it's really, really cool. But like anything else, it takes time to learn it. I mean, Ableton Live is not a walk in the park when you first use it, so everything has to be learned. I've shown this one a million times, but I'll show it again just because it's one of my favorite ever. It's like a $5-6 app called Thumb Jam. So this is in the rhythm mode, so he's got some Darabuka. Oops. Switched apps by accident. All right. So that's cool in a rhythm mode, right? Then you want to pick a sound. Let's do another sound. Change instrument. What's clever is, based on the instrument you choose, it knows the scale to choose by default, unless you want to vary from that. So, for example, I want to do a shakuhachi. And guess what it brings up? It brings up a Japanese scale. I don't know why it's doing a looping function. Looping off? It's getting a repeat function for some reason. So all the ARP's on, no wonder. There we go. I use an accelerometer. You can also use it for timbre changes too on some of the patches. If it's easier on a phone because you have more control of your wrist and stuff, but you can make it work. It's pretty awesome. Oh, which iPad model is this? This is an older one. This is iPad Pro because it's always been my favorite version, and it's the last one that had the headphone jack. One thing I forgot to mention is if you're going to be doing iPhone music of any kind and you need audio, you need MIDI, and you need power. So you can charge it and keep using it for hours. Lightning port can only handle like 2 of those duties. Can't handle all 3. I've tried. I've done all kinds of things. I've read all kinds of crazy stuff about it. Even bought some peripherals that claimed that they did all 3. They didn't. So I think normal iPads still have a headphone jack. They brought it back or they never took it away, but they took it away from the Pro, which is classic Apple. Like, what the fuck are you doing taking it away from the Pro version, right? Because I like the bigger space for more room to make the apps bigger and more performance space. And just more fun to watch movies on and other things. So Pro is always my favorite, even though it's expensive. So this is the Gen 2 or Gen 3. I think it's Gen 2 iPad Pro. So it's quite old, which is why I can't do the update on the OS anymore. But this is gold. This headphone jack is goddamn gold. If you do wireless on here with Bluetooth or something like that, yeah, it's great for listening to music. But the round trip with the latency, even in Bluetooth 5, it's fine. Like if you use Widi's or Roli Bluetooth, it's perfect because you're just sending MIDI. Audio is a lot more complicated and just not that fast. So if you're listening to music on your earbuds that are Bluetooth, you won't even notice the difference. But try playing music through your earbuds. There's too much lag. You won't have this real-time awesome interaction with your instruments. It's only good for listening. MIDI is the exception because the data is so much smaller and it's so much more lean and just goes right through the system, no problem. So get an iPad with a headphone jack, even if it's the original iPad that's smaller. Because if I had to buy another one of these soon, and I needed a headphone jack, I probably couldn't get any more of these. And it's not worth buying a super old one anymore anyway, probably because you can't upload any stuff to it. Operating system won't work, certain apps won't work, etc., etc. But this one, like I said, is baked. All the apps I have in here work perfectly, and I'm happy with it. Everything's great until it totally dies on me for whatever reason. Headphone jack is paramount. Because if you do the little lightning to headphone, that's going to take away something, your power, your MIDI, something like that, right? It's not going to allow you to do all 3 at once. So Apple kind of screwed a lot of musicians who like to use this platform with dynamic stuff with the headphone jack. Oh, just use the adapter. Well, now you just took my MIDI away from me if I want to use power or something like that. So it's kind of annoying. But anyway, so I love this Thumb Jam app because there's very cool samples on here, expressive instruments. And it does like looping and sequencing and all kinds of stuff. But The other awesome thing on here, I've shown this before as well. Oh, also you can change the performance of the instruments really quickly. So this is slightly hard tune. Actually, this is full. That's full hard tuning. I can do partial hard tuning, and I can do full on smooth. Theremin flute. But the other thing I love with this app is this function here, which is, you can probably hear me talking into it. It's pitch to MIDI. Turn my microphone away so I don't make too much noise. And you can do vibrato into it. If you add vibrato to it, it'll also pick that up. Awesome. For a cheap little app, pitch to MIDI is so cool. And the sounds are great. I mean, there's all kinds of percussion stuff on there, orchestral, ethnic music from music instruments from around the world. You heard the darbuka, which is crazy. So yeah, I love this app. All right, just a couple more here. I gotta get some more sleep, I think. This one's also vocal. It's called Voxsyn. It's like a vocodery type app. You can see it has this honeycomb grid. It's one of those isomorphic key beds with the hexagons. And you can play and do, it doesn't work well with the setup I have with this microphone and stuff, so I'm not going to do it now, but Voxsyn is pretty cool. And I want to just show a couple other weird ones that people don't see very much. Poly 2 is fun because it's just a weird way of working. So it looks kind of like Reactable, which this might have been first. Maybe Reactable was first, I can't remember. It's a similar idea. You have this whole circle of where you're working. All these tools are on the outside to interact with stuff. And you can drag and drop instruments and stuff. And they all interact based on their proximity to the center. So if you watch, and they're color-coded for their function, what kind of sounds they are and stuff. I don't remember what this is doing. Let's just see what it does. So I put the drum in the middle, and it's repeating constantly. But the more I move it out, the less it triggers based on those rings of influence. So it's cool for weird rhythm experimentation. You can also add chromatic stuff in here. I remember how to add damn notes to this thing. Again, it's a crazy interface, right? So you gotta play with it, you gotta read a little stuff, figure it out. Because look at it, it's very busy. You got stuff all around the periphery, and also stuff all the way around this circle to add and remove things. And I actually forgot how to add something to it. So, but I just wanted to show you interesting interfaces that act on proximity. Quick ways to make grooves on the fly. So that's Poly 2. And again, MIDI functionality too, right? See the big MIDI symbol right there. So make crazy ass drum beats, send it to a proper drum machine and go nuts. And again, one of the powers of iOS stuff is tactile and weird, unusual interfaces to take your instruments you already have to the next level. Anything else cool that I left open? Purposely left a bunch of stuff open just in case. find time to show them. Sampler, they did this on the old Sonic Touch podcast, Sonic State. This is one of the original sampling apps that had a granular functionality on the iPad called Sampler, S-A-M-P-L-R. And you have these like slices. So you can, those little zones you can play like keys. And this is playing different modes. It's doing granular stuff or it's bouncing around in these little areas. And using up and down, it's doing like filtery, performance-y stuff on there. I can pick a new, pick a region to play with, and it always gives you this little waveform on top of the actual sampled waves, so you can see your amplitudes of what you're doing. And the best one's called Borderlands. This one's pretty cool because it's more about the isolating samples here and there, but Borderlands lets you do this kind of mondo mix of samples. Let me show you that one real quick. Borderlands, if you haven't seen that. Borderlands. Come on, give me the search thing, stupid thing. Hold on a second. There we go. Ah. It's being finicky. You do have to reboot your devices once in a while. Things can get weird. Why isn't that giving me there we go. Borderlands. This one's absolutely bonkers. We're talking about granular. This blows away like the tasty chips as far as all the stuff you can do at the same time. No. So you have all these little sequences you load from wherever. And you have all these little things to change variations. So there's a vibrato, there's volume, there's width, XY. Duration. How many at once? How poly it is? Oh no, so this is pitch, sorry. Pitch. How much overlap? So for speech stuff, it's completely bonkers. Now that's going. I can bring this one in. So it's just like I'm talking about ambient soundscapes and weird stuff. And this is called Borderlands. And Ian knows a lot of these as well. He's a big iPad fan as well, and he uses some of these in his EMOMs, I think. So Sampler is an original one that's pretty good. Borderlands is one of my favorites, as you can see. And then this is just four things going on at once. I could have a whole screen of stuff and just bring them in and out. There's all these controls up here to do various wacky things on top of what you're seeing with these kind of block diagram real-time control of all the timbral elements. I can even have 2 controls per sound. You can see I opened 2 controllers on the same sound window. So it gets really deep and really layered if you want to get crazy with it. So that's Borderlands, and it's bonkers. Maybe one more. There's such thing as too much of a good thing. It's interesting. Yeah, lots of, there's another, there's one called Modes. It's another great, oh, this is cool. Weird and unusual. ID 700, it's a Buchla 700 emulator, essentially. It's a weird looking interface and it's really detailed. But it's capable of some pretty wild sounds. No, I don't want to do that. What are you doing? No. What did I hit? There we go. So some bread and butter stuff. But you see, like, it gives you waveforms for everything. And as you modify them, there's like little pictures of them, but here you can edit the actual thing in large format. But it shows you what you've done, the whole history of the sound with all the different waveform components as you're messing with it. You can mess with all the harmonics. And you can obviously do LFOs on this and animate it. So, not showing you the most detail on this thing, but I like this interface where you can, all the standard stuff you would do with the waveforms, the modulation, the filtering. You have a kind of a central area, and then you have a snapshot of everything you did over on the side here. Not just to click on, but also to see a miniature version of the same waveform. So you do some FM stuff, because that's Buchla. A lot of FM in Buchla. Wave folding. But yeah, I don't know any presets off the top of my head that are so great, but I have found them going around here by accident, kind of, sort of. But just, you don't see a Buchla 700 very much. It's, I'm maybe Kent has seen a couple of them or something like that, but no one even talks about them as far as I know. It's always the 100, the 200, the 200E, the easel, and a few other things. Some of his gadgets, the lightning and thunder and some other stuff. But yeah, I have a bunch more to show, but it's been going on for a long time already. A bunch of you probably either fell asleep or left. So thanks for hanging in there. The main goal was to show the ribbon stuff, just because the thing with Gaz was kind of interesting. That new ribbon he has that I swear looks strikingly like this ribbon here. But that should do it. It's time to go back to sleep and get a little nap. This is about the time that we'd only been to Ramsey for about 2 hours, and I would start to get tired. So, thanks for everyone who came by. Sorry I was fiddling so much I didn't read all the chat. It's better to engage with the chat more, but I just get busy sometimes, and so yeah, good stuff. Good. If you have an iPad, leverage it for some music. Even if you just use it for editors. I mean, I have. I had Tetras until those guys stole them, but I had the Sound Tower editors for the DSI Tetras, polychained, and the apps on here are amazing from Sound Tower for Tetra, for the Evolver, for some other stuff. And it's a breeze to edit. You know, there's not a mouse where you're just clicking and moving around. It's like this tactile, multi-touch, just a few pages of stuff to tweak, and you can just quickly dial in a whole bunch of wacky presets. There's also patch genetics and combinations of stuff and morphine and all that. So most editors don't do that, even on the computer. So Sound Tower and some of those guys are really on their game, and they make a lot of great iPad stuff. As well as, you know, some of these great apps that are just synths on the iPad themselves. So get into it if you guys aren't. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want to use an iPad. It's stupid for music." But you know, Black Eyed Peas made a whole album on iPad. A bunch of other people have used iPads for an entire album. So it's definitely powerful and fun and unique. And even stuff like the Fugue Machine I showed you, it's just another way to work on music and come up with ideas and new ways to sequence, new ways to engage with samples and synthesis and sound combining and just all that stuff. It's all right there, literally at your fingertips, and it's just fun. So with that, I'm not going to drag out any longer. Thanks everybody for coming by. If I didn't call you out in the chat, I apologize. I see Steve is here, so Lucas, so thanks for coming by. Try to at least engage with people to a certain extent, but I just get busy sometimes, and it's tricky. So yeah, no, like as you guys already know, I'm here because no Ramsey today, so I'm sure there'll be a pub later today. I'll try and drop in at some point, but I got to go back to sleep for a while. So thanks again, everybody, and as always, appreciate coming by and engaging, and I always get a kick out of reading the chat. So even if I miss stuff you said, I will certainly read it later and catch up with you somewhere in a chat room somewhere or in the comments sections to comment on what you said and have fun and say thanks and all that kind of stuff. So I always appreciate it. And remember to stay synthy, everybody. Catch you later. Bye-bye.